He's Jim Stewart. I'm Rick Collins, and this is Off the Bench. We get a Mavs weekend review. Nothing's changed, really. The Mavs are still losing. College basketball review, college football review, Monday Night Football preview, NFL review of the weekend, and, of course, the Dallas Cowboys lose. Jim, what does it mean?
Well, it was really obvious at the beginning of the game that the Cowboys were not going to be able to lean on the run game against the Falcons. And at that point, the game sort of fell apart because, as I've been saying all year, they had to lean on Dak. And it has really been obvious that Tyron Smith is worth more to the Cowboys than Zeke Elliott, because when Tyron Smith was not in that lineup, Dak got annihilated constantly.
They had 8 sacks, I believe 5 by Adrian Claiborne, who was the guy lined up over 6 sacks. What would have been Tyron Smith, but it was Chaz Green instead. Clearly, Chaz Green is not the guy to take over for Tyron Smith, because Adrian Claiborne is not a superstar by any means.
Yeah, and so what happened was the opening drive had that exact problem. They went down the field a little bit, and then they ended the drive with 2 massive hits, 1 sack and 1 forced errant throw that went straight into the ground by Dak, and they were both by Claiborne.
Yeah.
And that was just sort of the precursor for the entire game, because they just smashed Dak Prescott over and over again. The only thing that the Cowboys did well was when they got close to the end zone, Dak was able to run it in.
Yeah.
But that was it.
Well, we knew that, we were going to see more of running Dak in this game, because he was going to need to be a weapon in the run game for the offense to continue moving down the field. But he needed to be clean in this game for them to win. And clearly was not even close to being clean. Chaz Green was terrible. The rest of the offensive line suffered because of that. And so Dak had pressure all game long. And we know that Dak needs time and space to make plays, especially downfield. He wasn't able to get any passes downfield. And knowing he's not the most accurate passer downfield, and I agree with you on that, but even just getting the ball downfield, making it a threat to get the ball downfield.
And right now he's not a threat. He's not a threat to throw the ball down the field. The other issue is, like you said, I don't think, and I'm not willing to throw him under the bus yet. This is halfway through, or a little bit past the halfway of his second season. He needs to still grow. But at this point, you cannot claim that he is a franchise quarterback if he cannot throw the ball, if he's not absolutely spotless clean.
Yeah.
Most quarterbacks in this league do not have the luxury of having an amazing offensive line that keeps the defense off of you.
While we see that the most effective quarterbacks coming out of college in the last 6-7 years, maybe even further back 10 years, are guys that can get out, avoid the rush, and make a play on the run.
And he should be able to. He's that athletic.
And yes, and I think the expectation is he should be able to do that. Maybe it's too early, but is it too early to say it with Carson Wentz? No.
But the difference is that if you watch Dak, and he did it a couple times last night, when he bootlegs out, he is not the best thrower in the world when it comes to on the run down the field. He's not. He's very inaccurate. There was one play where I think Dez Bryant was open. Well, not open, but he was leading his defensive
enough
back.
As Dez goes.
And Dak threw a ball at his knees. And the problem was Dak was bootlegging. And so the real question becomes is we need to evaluate and figure out, what does Dak need to do in this offseason? Because I don't think the season now is going to be going anywhere. I mean, it's gotten so bad.
Tyron Smith does not sit with simple injuries.
No.
He's sitting because there's a serious issue going on.
To his groin.
His groin and his back.
Groin,
He's got multiple issues going on.
And it's so bad that Zeke's left the country.
They've talked about Tyron Smith maybe needing surgery on his back during the offseason. So it could be that resting the groin is really just an excuse to try and rest his back that really could be a problem moving forward outside of this season.
I'm sorry, it's not acceptable, even for a second-year guy, but it's not acceptable to go 20 for 30 for 160 yards, or 176 yards, 176 yards. It's not acceptable for someone who has been praised.
Completion percentage, but,
that
we're
means
not getting many yards.
It's 8.8 yards per reception.
Per reception.
If you go look, he did throw a couple down the field.
That's what it should be per attempt.
Per attempt, yes, but not average.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I said, I'm willing to give this guy a shot, and I know I've been critical. But the only reason why I've been critical is because everybody else is singing his praises to the point where they say he's Troy Aikman.
Yeah, and now it's
Troy
impossible
Aikman was
to
a
tell.
Downfield thrower.
Now he's got excuses because Tyron Smith is out, because Ezekiel Elliott's out.
He doesn't have excuses from me. You know why? Aaron Rodgers, we all saw.
Yeah, what he did.
He has nobody.
Yeah, well,
Tom Brady doesn't have a very good offensive line. Matt Stafford doesn't have a very good offensive line. Cam Newton doesn't have a very good offensive line. Dak is really one of the only players the last couple years that has had a really good offensive line in front of him.
Yeah.
He's not. Aaron Rodgers last year, everybody praised that offensive line, but it's because Aaron moved. Aaron was very good at maneuvering in that pocket so that his offensive line were always in a good place to block.
I don't think we're ever going to compare Dak to Aaron Rodgers. I think Dak, he has
to have some of that.
Dak should be more in the Cam Newton, Russell Wilson, somewhere in there is this top
Russell
10
Wilson,
quarterback.
perfect example. Horrible offensive line, is able to move.
Still make plays.
And I'm not saying that Dak needs to be like a Baker Mayfield or a Russell Wilson where he's just spinning and getting out of. He needs to have enough.
Avoid one pass rusher. And then make a play.
Yes, and he's not doing that. He is 1 or 2 steps late.
It's what we're seeing from Carson Wentz that we wish we were seeing from Dak.
He's 1 or 2 steps late when it comes to reacting to pressure because he's not used to it.
Yeah.
He's so used to this line giving him all the time he needs, and he doesn't have that anymore. And that's why. We've always had this discussion. That's why the CBA isn't helping anybody, because he would have known about these problems in the offseason if they were able to do contact. But also, it doesn't help that his defense is now starting to play well, where they were nobodies in the offseason.
Yeah, and Sean Lee's absence is going to be huge for the Cowboys. His hamstring again. He had to come out of the game. I don't know if this is a long-term issue that he's going to sit for a while.
Of course it's a long-term issue. He's always been injured.
But I wonder if he's going to try and come back next week. And I feel like this is going to be one of those week-to-week deals. We just don't know if he's going to be healthy or not. And that's actually worse. I'd rather have us know he's sitting for the rest of the season so that he can get 100% healthy on this hamstring, because this is what's caused him to miss multiple games so far this year.
Yeah, but I don't think the hamstring. I don't think it's the hamstring. I think it's him. He plays with reckless abandon. We all know that. And that's what makes him so special as a linebacker, but it also leads to his injury proneness. So what happens is he explodes into something, tries to stop, and if he gets nudged or moved a certain way that isn't expected, he pulls something because he is very injury prone.
Yeah.
He had 3 weeks this year to get over that hamstring. And when he came back, it only took 2 or 3 games to pull it again.
Yeah.
You can give him the rest of his career to rest and get ready and play the one final season after 2 or 3. Let's say we give him 2 or 3 years off. He's still going to pull something.
Not 2 or 3 years, but maybe the rest of the season.
He has never completed a full 16-game season, ever. And that's a problem because he is the linchpin of that defense. Yeah. He allows Irving and Hitchens, is it Hitchens?
Hitchens.
Yeah, to press the quarterback, to be able to chase after him, because any running back plays that they miss, he erases.
Yeah.
Because he's that quick, he's that smart. The problem is that he either needs to tone down and know when to be explosive, or we're just going to have to accept the fact that, hey, we need to get an adequate backup in so that when he does go down, because we know he's going to go down, we have someone to replace him.
I wonder how quickly they're going to be looking for a linebacker in the next draft. Speaking of running back plays, Ezekiel Elliott's made a play to leave the country during this 4-game suspension that he has to sit before the court's going to look at his appeal. So Rappaport said, so what is on the docket for Ezekiel Elliott himself? I'm told he is leaving the country to an undisclosed location to completely reset, clear his head, train, and come back in late December for the Cowboys in the best shape he has been in. This is ridiculous. You do not need a guy like Ezekiel Elliott leaving the country. Where's he going? He's going to Cabo. He's going to the Bahamas. Where is he going?
We heard Tibet.
Tibet? No, not.
Here's the problem. He is untrustworthy at best here. Yeah. When the Cowboys can go, you're right down the street, we can keep an eye on you. He's going to another country where he can, all intents and purposes, disappear.
Yes.
From anybody. We all know he has issues when it comes to having fun with with liquor and probably touches a little bit of the weed, but we've got to be careful.
A little bit of the weed. Did not think I was going to hear that today.
But we've got to be careful because he is not a responsible person. He's not. And yes, he's good on the field, but and I'm not shocking anybody by saying that, hopefully, and I hope the Cowboys don't get mad that I'm saying something that no one else has ever heard. But you ask anybody, no one trusts him to be on his own.
Yeah.
It's almost feels like Pac-Man Jones is back.
Yeah.
But Pac-Man Jones, they were able to do something because he was fully suspended. He was not allowed to be in the league, so they were able to give him bodyguards and people to follow him around and make sure he was on point.
Yeah, now
they can't do that with Zeke.
They can't communicate nothing with Zeke. When we get back, we've got more NFL Weekend Review.
To Tibet.
We're so excited to invite you to our Stacy Furniture Anniversary Sale.
Save today on Stacy's outstanding selection, up to 50% off select items throughout the store.
Now's the time to buy that new bedroom, living room, or dining room suit. You can't beat these prices anywhere.
Name brands like Bernhard, Hooker, Universal, and Cheryl, all on sale today.
His Stacy's Anniversary Sale only happens once a year.
Shop Stacy's today or visit us online at stacyfurniture.com.
Remember, when you're shopping at Stacy's, you're shopping with family.
My prediction for last night's game,
Little off. Samsonite, baby.
Samsonite, as Romo would
New
say.
England destroyed the Broncos. But this is the second week in a row. The Eagles destroyed them last week. Why not the Patriots? Those are the two leading teams in the two divisions.
Yeah.
You've got the NFC leading by the Eagles, and the AFC probably leading by the Patriots. And a record might not show it, but Patriots are the best team in the AFC. It's not even debatable. Maybe by record it is, but not by gameplay. The last couple games, they've been killing people. So they really decided that they were going to put it on to what was considered most of the year as the best defense in the league.
They are not in the top 10 right now in defenses.
The funniest part was if you watch the game, Brock Osweiler would go up to the line and talk, and they're like, reminds me of Peyton Manning. They said that in the game. Nothing about Brock Osweiler reminds you of Peyton Manning. Nothing. Except maybe his hot route. I mean, maybe his verbiage. But nothing about him reminds you of Peyton Manning.
No, and they really are. They're without a starting quarterback right now, the Denver Broncos.
So what happened to your claim
wanted.
last week?
Well,
your claim was that this front office knows how to draft quarterbacks.
Osweiler was a mistake. They brought him back because they needed a backup.
Lynch. Lynch was too?
Lynch has been a mistake, but they won't make a mistake in this next draft. They'll take a quarterback. They will.
The last two were.
They will make a mistake with who they take, though. I think Baker Mayfield will be fine as a quarterback for them, but I think it's going to be a problem of they're going to be picking at a point where they kind of have the last straw. In terms of the top quarterbacks in the draft. I think they've got to take a quarterback. This shows it. They cannot win games with their defense. Despite how good their defense is, they still need an offense that can move the ball. And right now, with Osweiler or with Lynch or with whoever they decide to throw a quarterback, whoever they put a quarterback, they cannot win games.
Nope. And the TD, we talked about this before the show, the TD before the half was a backbreaker for the Broncos. They just had no will to live after the half. They were just like, how much is the tickets with Zeke to go to Tibet? We're all on board. That's what
they were hoping to get to the half 29, down by a touch, a couple of scores. But the problem was that the Patriots had 2.5 minutes left in the half. Tom Brady took him down the field, threw a touchtouchdown pass to Dwayne Allen.
Don't you have Tom Brady as your quarterback?
I do, and that's worked out real well.
But Dwayne Allen also scored on his first catch of the year with the Patriots. It's amazing.
Martellus Bennett's not ready yet. And Dwayne Allen's a fine fill-in until Bennett's ready.
Bennett did play, though.
Yeah, but
that was the confusing
But he's
part.
not fully ready. They're not going to put him on a full snap schedule yet. Dwayne Allen, their tight end core is good.
But
Gronkowski, Dwayne Allen, and Martellus Bennett.
But you know what? The running back core is just as impressive because not only can they run the ball, they maybe aren't going to do what an Adrian Peterson and those guys are going to do.
No, they're not going to run the ball for over 100 yards a game, but the running backs that they've been able to use so far this year have been getting the job done. The way LeGarrette Blount was able to get the job done for them before. You can't expect that many yards from them, but Rex Burkhead and Dion Lewis were great last night.
And what they are is they are complete backs. They run, let's use Rex Burkhead for a minute. Rex Burkhead ran for 30 yards rushing and 37 yards receiving. Dion Lewis had basically the same stats. He had a few receptions for quite a few yards, and he had quite a few rushing yards. That's the way the Patriots run. Burkhead...
You've got to be able to do everything.
Yeah, Burkhead's never going to give you a 60, 70-yard run. Yeah. He's going to get you 20, 30 yards every once in a while, but he's going to get you that 5-6 yards a carry. He is that... He's quicker than he is fast. He's creative in his running styles. He knows how to spin, and he does those same things in the receiving game. He catches and he either makes a guy miss with the linebackers or he's strong enough to give a stiff arm. It is quite impressive how they do this, but, it amazes me. How long are they going to ride Tom Brady?
Yeah.
Everybody goes, oh, well, those running backs. Well, those running backs can't get the ball if Tom Brady isn't throwing it to them.
Yeah.
How many times is he going to throw the ball before his arm falls off? I mean, he's 40 years old now. I'm going to be surprised if he gets to 45. But, saying that he gets to 45 is crazy.
Well,
but
we need to check with Sean and see how far he is on that TB12 health program. Because that seems to be what's keeping him alive is this health program.
And it's hilarious.
Maybe being married to Giselle, too.
When you saw his draft photo.
Yeah. Where he looks like he's 12.
He looks like he's 12, no muscle definition. It's like he's living on that now. You don't want hard sculpted muscle anymore. You want that pliable, somewhat defined muscle that you can take a hit. You're like, what is he talking about? But apparently it works, or it's just his genetics. But then we move on.
He's a miracle.
He's a miracle. We move on to Saints. And the Saints are really surprising people because they're winning through the running game and defense. Yes. They're not relying on Drew Brees anymore.
No, and I think that's hugely beneficial for them going forward because if you can save Brees for the postseason, that just helps because he's like Tom Brady, not getting any younger. And Ingram was awesome against the Bills, and the Bills, since Darius was traded, have not been good on defense. I don't know if he put the voodoo on them or what, but it has not been the same defense since Darius left.
It was for the first game, and then it fell apart.
Yes.
So you look at this, and the Saints and Mark Ingram put on a show.
Yeah.
Over 150 yards, and he scored 3 touchdowns on, I'd say, probably 21 carries.
21 carries? And not only did he have 131 plus yards.
Sorry, I said 150.
Yeah, and receiving yards.
It felt like it.
3 touchdowns. Kamara added over 100 yards on 16 carries and a touchdown. And Drew Brees ran for a touchdown. They ran for 6 touchdowns. When was the last time a Saints team ran for more than 3 touchdowns that you can remember?
I think that's a first.
It's got to be. It's incredible because the Saints have always been
definitely during Brees' tenure. But if
they could run the ball like that, they're going to win a lot of games. They've won 7 in a row now.
I think maybe the last time we can actually even hint that might have happened was when Peyton's daddy, quarterback for the Saints.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This has been the most nutso NFL season ever.
Nobody saw the Saints coming back.
No one saw the Jaguars coming.
No.
And Jaguars won again this weekend
Rams,
as well.
Everybody thought the Rams were still a year or 2 away, and they've exploded on the scene. They didn't slow down last night.
Packers won without Aaron Rodgers.
How did that happen?
Where is this world coming from? Are we
I watched Hundley, and I thought I was watching Aaron Rodgers for a little bit. Some of those throws were so pinpoint. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, who is this guy?
And then the Lions.
Hey, Lions got another win.
Yeah, but Vikings won.
Yeah, that hurts them. I think the Lions will probably end up with a wild card spot instead of winning the NFC North. It would probably take a Case Keenum injury. Now, the backup quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings was
Teddy
Bridgewater. And after basically 2 years of not playing, of inactive, he was sitting on the bench. He wasn't starting, but just overcome with emotion. I understand it.
He cried.
Yeah, you've been injured for so long, and for you to finally be an active player on an NFL roster, especially after being drafted, with such high expectations, I think it's great for him. I think it's good for the Vikings to be able to have a backup quarterback that they could rely on, I believe, to be efficient in the offense. And I think that's all they need. Because right now, Keenum has been special. I think it's the Minnesota Vikings. Their coaching staff should all get, coaches of the year. Because their offense and defense have been the most efficient in and out, week in, week out, the entire year. Including all the injuries that they've had. It's incredible they've been able to do this.
I think if this wouldn't look so ridiculous on camera, I would say the 49ers deserve a slow clap. Yeah.
No, that's enough. That's enough. They beat the Giants. That's not saying a whole lot because the Giants have only won one game this year.
McAdoo.
But at least the 49ers don't have to share that worst spot with the Cleveland Browns because nobody wants to share that spot.
Cleveland owns that spot. They've owned it so long that they have settled in it and have built a nice little cottage on it.
How many bedrooms?
Probably 2 or 3.
Ooh.
One of them for Kaiser.
Yeah, one of them for Kaiser, one for the defense, and one for the rest of the offense.
Yes. Kaiser
the coaches
gets his
have
own.
to sleep outside.
Yeah.
The general manager has to sleep in the woods. No cover.
Behind the shed.
Under a tree behind the shack. God, I mean, every year we talk about how bad this Cleveland Browns
and every year, man, they got Garrett. They've got
these impressive new players. Oh man, this is going to be it.
It is. You know what the problem is? It's not the players.
No.
It's not even the coaching staff. Ownership.
Yes.
They need to get rid of the ownership. And you know what? How many years does a team have to be horrible before the league as a whole, all the owners go, we gave it a good run, 60, 70 years, just not working anymore. We can't have a staple team because they were.
Yeah.
Since Jim Brown, they have been one of the greatest teams ever in the history.
Yeah.
We can't have you guys sucking every year.
Yeah. It all started with
turn in your cards.
Going to Baltimore, becoming the Ravens. And ever since then, the Cleveland Browns franchise has been horrific.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, that's when it started.
When you fire Bill Belichick, you deserve to
that's
be
what it
horrible.
is. He put the voodoo on him.
Yes, he put the voodoo on him. And here's the problem.
The Egyptian mummy curse.
If you were the Browns, the owners need to go, we're going to take your keys and please clear off your desk.
Yes, we're going to take your owner's card. Yes, exactly. Clear your desk, get out of here.
And speaking of clearing our desk, when we get back, we're going to clear the weekend because the Mavs haven't been able to clear anything.
Oh, we got college football. Oh, it's too much.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Whew. So, we got college football. Before we get to the Mavs, I want to talk about
madness.
What happened because the NFL weekend was madness, but not as madness as college football. And Alabama was the only team that really kept the madness at bay.
But that was because they didn't play anybody.
Well, Mississippi State, ranked number 16 right now, not a terrible team. In fact, really had Alabama on the ropes. So they had to score twice late to win that game, and they were able to hold on. They're going to get that number 1 spot because they've been in the top 2, and Georgia lost to Auburn, and they didn't just lose to Auburn. They got hammered, and they're done. Even if they get into the SEC championship game and win it, I don't think that's going to be enough.
Yeah, the Auburn Tigers bottled up that power-vaunted running game that Georgia had going the whole season. They only rushed for 46 yards. 46 yards.
Yeah.
That defense destroyed this team. And, Auburn has a very capable quarterback. Very capable quarterback. Maybe not Matthew Stafford, but probably the second best quarterback.
Are you talking about Georgia?
Yeah, sorry, Georgia. Yes. Georgia has a very capable quarterback, probably the best they've had since Matthew Stafford. And he didn't do anything either.
Yeah.
It's really been a disappointment that they went down to such a team. But what does that mean?
Yeah, Fromm was only 13 of 28 in the passing game. I think it means Georgia drops down. Look at the top 10 now. I mean, it's the AP top 25. The top 10 are going to be Alabama, Miami, Oklahoma, Clemson, and then you've got Wisconsin, Auburn. I don't think anybody else really has a shot. I mean, I guess if OK State can somehow get into the – no, they can't get in. Notre Dame's got 2 losses. They're not going to get in. Ohio State, they can't get in.
No.
TCU?
Really, no, they can't get in. Why? Because they lost 38-20 to to
Georgia
Oklahoma.
with 1 loss. I think even if they beat Alabama, I don't think that's enough to get them in. Really what you're looking at is, can Wisconsin run the table in the Big Ten and manage to get one of those spots of 3 or 4? Because Oklahoma looks like they're settling in at 3. Clemson would be the team at 4. Does Miami beat Clemson, or Clemson beat Miami? Because I think that's going to be the big game. That ACC championship game is going to determine whether Wisconsin can sneak into the top 4 or
I think
not.
it all depends on how much jewelry Miami's handing out with those turnover chains.
Man, I want one of those. I wish I could wear one of those in here. That'd be sweet.
But and as silly as that sounds, that is a rallying cry for them. That is something they pride themselves in.
This weekend, what they did to Notre Dame, if I was from Notre Dame or a player at Notre Dame, I would be embarrassed because 41-8, you're the number 3 ranked team in the nation playing against Miami. And this is a classic matchup. And I can understand losing that game because Miami is a very good team, undefeated so far on the season, and you know that Miami's going to bring the pain. But Notre Dame, with how good their offense and defense have been this year, that's a disappointment. 41-8?
Yeah. Wimburn.
If Georgia wasn't disappointed enough, Notre Dame is really disappointed.
Yeah, Wimburn only threw for 119 yards, 2 picks, 1 touchdown. He was 10 for 21. He was under 50% throwing the ball down. Not even down the field, but throwing the ball, period. They had to bring in their backup quarterback because they had to try to give it a shot. He didn't do much better. He threw 50%.
Well, I mean, you're down that much. You got to do something because Miami was just rolling them.
Yeah, and again, it was another team in Notre Dame that has a power running game.
Yeah.
And they were completely shut down. Their vaunted running back in Adams rushed for 40 yards, 2.5 yards per carry. 2.5 yards per carry.
That's really bad in college football. I mean, we talk about in the NFL, that's a rough day. That is a hugely disappointing day, especially for a top running back in college football. There's not many defenses that can hold teams to that, and Miami's defense has been great this year. But you would think with that offensive line, 2 guys potentially going in the top 10 of the next NFL draft, that they would be able to get the running game going. And this Notre Dame team, despite how hard their schedule was and how well they played during this, maybe it says more about Miami. Maybe this Miami team is legit.
Yeah, maybe, but that's the same thing we might be saying about Auburn. But I'll tell you who is legit. Them Oklahoma Sooners.
Oh, man, I knew it. God,
38-20. And that was because they decided to not go to the playbook anymore after halftime.
Yeah, they just decided to let Rodney Anderson run the ball, let Baker Mayfield throw some balls out in the flat. I mean, Mayfield had a huge game, 333 yards for 3 touchdowns, but only had 27 attempts. He barely had to do anything.
Nope.
He was just tossing the ball to Anderson, tossing it to the tight end. I mean, literally, guys were just making gigantic
But Pete,
plays.
don't say tossing it. He was throwing it down the field all game long, right? And he is the complete opposite of Dak. He is accurate down the field, which is crazy because everybody says he's too short.
And he's a big play quarterback. He's not a quarterback who's throwing passes where guys are only getting 4 or 5 yards. They're making 15, 20-yard plays every time he throws the ball.
And that's because he gets it in front of the player while they're running in space.
And it gets a TCU team that everybody thought was a top 5 defense in the country. Wow.
So what I think is going to happen is they're going to go into Kansas, and Baker's going to have 400 total yards before half. And then what they're going to do is they're going to put him out, they're going to put him into stasis, and bubble wrap him.
Bubble wrap him.
Till
a Big 12 championship.
Yes, till the Big 12 championship, if not the Virginia game. I think West Virginia coming into Oklahoma, maybe not even. I don't know. I would bubble wrap him like Kyle Austin.
West Virginia has upset a few teams this year. They're not a great team, but offensively,
it could be a trap
they're
game.
An explosive team, yes.
But trap games only work if your team is lax.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield is not
never
a lax.
I've never seen him lax.
I mean, did you see the antics he would like when Rodney Anderson scored that touchdown when he threw it over the middle? Baker Mayfield came running in with windmills like, The Simpsons, where he's like, I'm going to swing my arms, and if you get in the way, it's your own fault. He was crazy. And you know
He's
what? I'm
crazy.
sorry. He reminds me of Brett Favre, his personality at least. That showboating, going out, confidence.
Yes.
No one's ever going to get in his way. He's never scared of any throw.
Yeah.
And he goes and he celebrates with his players. People rally around him.
Well, I thought it was funny when he quoted, he said that if he was on another team, he'd hate him too. I like that. That means, hey, I've got confidence.
But I understand.
And yes, I got a lot of swagger, and I understand that people aren't going to like me because of it, but that's just who I am, and I'm going to be that way. I like that. And not only is Baker Mayfield making plays, but Rodney Anderson has come out of nowhere.
Not only is he selling life insurance, but he is running the rock.
He is awesome. He 151 yards and 2 touchdowns, 6.6 yards per carry. I think having Mayfield throwing him the ball in the flat and things like that has really opened it up for him.
And then he scored 2 through the air.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns receiving,
the guy's
2
been a
touchdowns
monster
rushing.
so far this year. I think this has hugely improved his draft stock. I don't see him being a first-round pick.
But probably a second
He's one
or
of those
third.
running backs at the beginning of the second round who teams really start thinking, ooh, we need a running back. And he's one of those guys. He has all the skill set that you want from a running back.
And he doesn't have a lot of wear on those tires because he's been injured his first 2 years.
Yeah.
Didn't see the field very much.
He's not a perfect back.
No.
He's not Love. He's not Saquon Barkley in terms of this ridiculous talent. But he is skilled at everything that he does.
And he's an effortless runner. If
Yes.
you watch him, he doesn't look like he's running.
I think second-round draft pick early on. I mean, I could see a Browns, if they're really desperate for a running back, they could take him then if they don't take one in the first round.
Look
He's
at it
going to
this
be
way.
somewhere running in the NFL next
Here's
year.
interesting. This is the reason why Oklahoma has been such a favorite, at least on offense. They've got the best tight end in the country in Andrews. They've got the best quarterback in the country in Mayfield.
Yeah.
They've got probably a top 10 running back in Rodney Anderson. They've probably got top 20 wide receivers as a whole, as a group.
It's too bad
They've got the best
defense
offensive
has been
line.
bad.
They've got the best offensive line in the country. That's why everybody is not sleeping on Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yes, their defense might be mediocre at best. Maybe they can stop you once or twice in a game. But that offense is special.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it's special like Florida Gators
Special
winning the
K?
championship
Yeah,
special.
yeah.
Short bus special. It is amazing that this team came back to what they lost to an Iowa State that everybody was like, Oklahoma's done.
Yeah.
They're never going to be able to climb back. Well, it also took some crazy things going on in the top 4 teams.
Yeah, if the top 4 had settled down in the last 3 weeks, maybe Oklahoma's not looking
And to be
at a
honest,
great
I
opportunity.
love this.
But hey, they're taking advantage of the schedule that they have and losses by top 4 teams.
And here's the thing. We will have probably the most exciting college football segment of the week on Wednesday after the...
Yes, college football playoff rankings come out.
Oh.
These so the rankings we gave you today.
And they're right down the street.
Those are the AP top 25. They're right down the street at the Gaylord Texan in Grapevine. So I mean, maybe we'll send in a spy, get some insider notes. But next we've got Dallas Mavericks and then a college basketball review because there are a bunch of players who were in action this weekend, the first weekend of college basketball that the Mavericks may be looking at in the 2018 NBA draft. Next.
Mavs got swept this weekend, but Hey, it's all according to plan. It's all according to plan.
I thought Mark Cuban said they weren't tanking.
But you know what it is? Is what they're doing is they're taking the playbook from the 76ers. They went over. Hey, man, can I borrow
that thing that's not tanking?
Yeah.
Yeah. Could we borrow that from y'all?
Yeah. Riddle us with injuries. Put Dirk out there. Say, hey, Dirk, can you give us some bad shots? Just a couple, and we'll make this team better for you next year. Come off the bench, be sixth man of the year. And we will be golden, Dirk. I promise you. Come on, Dirk. Come on. And the problem is that
it's working perfectly right now.
And I don't even think they're needing to try to tank. They're 2-11.
2-11 now. Oh yeah, after Sunday's loss.
At the now I guess we're gonna have to call it the Thunderdome again. It was the Blunderdome.
Yeah, it was a Blunderdome, but when the Mavericks come to town, every stadium becomes a Thunderdome apparently, because right now this team can't win. They can't win games. They're just not any good. And they 2 losses this weekend to teams that are expected to be top playoff, championship contenders. Okay, but both teams were struggling coming into those games.
Yes.
So you try and take advantage
and they
of
left
teams
not struggling as much.
Yeah, they left with a lot more confidence than they came in.
I'll tell you what, there were some good things and bad things. Let's talk about Dennis Smith for a minute. I think one of the most impressive things I've seen from him as a psychological standpoint is there was a play where Dennis Smith, during the Cavs game, went over, Euro-stepped someone, went to go do a beautiful layup, and of course, what do you think happens? Here comes LeBron James with his follow-up block, and it was monstrous, right? And half the crowd at the AAC.
Whoa!
No, we're Cavs fans.
Well,
so
yeah,
you
that's
hear,
what I'm
whoa! Then you go down, and they steal the ball, come back, and Dennis Smith burned both J.R. Smith and LeBron James down the court and dunked on it.
Yeah.
So I think that is huge for him on a confidence standpoint, because there was a lot of people that could have just been, I'm out. I mean, that I can't get much worse.
But one of my concerns, though, during that game was that, even after the dunk, he still missed a layup because he decided to go underneath the basket. Everybody was missing layups. And I really think that LeBron James has a psychological effect, whether he's being productive in a game or not, just because the other team is always looking over their shoulder. Is LeBron going to come block this shot? Where is he? Where is he? And they go up and they miss these easy Harrison Barnes. He could have dunked two.
Beautiful Euro step. Went up. There's no way LeBron could have blocked it because his head. Yeah, see, that's the thing. It gets into their heads.
It gets in their heads because LeBron is nowhere near most of those layups that they miss.
But it's that 1 or 2 times a game where he either gets that monster dunk or a block, or you could feel the hairs on the top of your head like, oh, he was close. The other thing is we went to the Thunderdome, and Dennis Smith had his first chance to play the person that everybody compared him to, which was Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
And he didn't do very well. He only scored 15, and Russell Westbrook scored 27.
Yeah, and now actually, that's kind of an average game for Russell Westbrook for the last couple of years.
Which is scary because that used to be a big deal when Dirk would score 25 in the game. Holy crap.
Think about how many points teams averaging 100 was over 100
was a big
5 years ago was a huge deal. Now
they're scoring
115, that's the lowest.
Yes.
If you're scoring 100 per game, you're on the low end of teams. You've got to be scoring over 110, 112. That means there's an extra 10 to 15 points for each of these teams, and it's usually the superstars who make up those points. Westbrook's gone from his average of about 22 points per game. He's averaging 28, 29 points a game now. You see there's 4 or 5 guys averaging over 30 points a game. 30 points a game used to be like you're the best player in the NBA if you're averaging over 30 points a game. Now it's, hey, there's a ton of guys who could do it.
Yeah. And this is a Debbie Downer for our team, but our call for Wesley Matthews to be traded is now at an all-time high. He played for 33 minutes, 1 point. 1.33 minutes. Okay. I understand. He has to defend Paul George. You know what? I can understand him not scoring because he had, wait. Paul George scored 37 last night. Yeah. So what was he doing?
Yeah.
Wasn't scoring, wasn't rebounding, wasn't defending. So what was he doing?
I wonder this every week is, are we playing him because we want to trade him, Or is it we're playing him, we're playing Dwight Powell because they have these big contracts and we feel like we just have to play him? They're making all this money. If we're not playing them, then we're just wasting the money.
That is what is the difference between, I hate to say it, Rick Carlisle and Greg Popovich. The reason why the Spurs are good every year.
You always hear about one of these guys, Deadman or
yeah, they got a big
whoever,
contract, and he's like, you know what, you're not playing. I'm not playing you.
Yeah.
He would rather play a rookie who has more potential than a star who's struggling.
Yeah.
And you know what? Because that does twofold. First of all, it pisses the star off to the point where maybe he is going to play well enough to earn his spot back. Because on a Popovich team, there is no, that's my spot.
Right.
There is no, I deserve that spot. That's my spot because I make more money than you. It's all these spots are earned. They're all earned. Well, unless you're Timmy Duncan or Mono Ginobili. Then you just get the spot.
Yeah, but they've earned those over years and years.
5 titles.
Not once or twice, right? So Dirk will continue to play because he's Dirk. He can still have huge games.
And the crowd will go
But Wesley
nuts for
Matthews
him.
is not Dirk.
No, he's only been here 3 years.
So Noel is not Dirk. So no matter how much we're paying these guys.
Oh, I forgot. Noel didn't play.
Yeah, and Noel's not playing, and he seems to be in the doghouse again.
Well, Measury decided, I'm coming out. I want the world to know.
Great opportunity.
I want the world to know. That's the problem. Because he came out, and 2 or 3 games ago, he had a double-double against the Wizards.
Yeah.
He played awesome last night. He played awesome the night before. He comes in with energy. Like you said, he's good at positioning. He's not that much bigger
No.
than Noel. He's nowhere near as athletic as Noel. But he puts in the effort. He figures out how to get himself into position to maybe stop or slow down or even block a shot where Noel wouldn't even, he doesn't want to get in and get his fingernails hurt or something. He just really struggles to get physical in the paint. He just does. And Measury does not hesitate to do that. Maybe it's because he's from a part of the world where if you don't fight for what you got, you don't got nothing.
Yeah, and he's a little bit older, more experienced player. Now he's played overseas for most of that time, but he knows the game, it seems, a little bit better than Noel does. And I don't know that Noel's willing to learn the game. That seems to be the biggest problem for the Mavericks is Noel doesn't appear to be progressing.
No.
As a player. And they really expected him. They needed him to progress this year for this Mavericks team to win. And that's a big reason why they're not winning.
No. And the problem is we keep saying the Cavs and the Thunder acting like they're last year's Cavs and Thunder, but both of them still are 1 game under 500 so far this year. And the Mavs lost by at least 7 points to both teams. So they didn't even keep it close to a team that's been struggling.
Yeah.
Right? What's going to happen when they go and play, I don't know, Houston or LA
Yeah.
or Golden State? It's not even going to be fair. And the sad part is when ball comes and plays in Dallas or we go and play in LA, I think it's going to be embarrassing. Ball's going to light us up. Maybe not on the point standpoint, but they're going to win. And that's going to be...
It's going to show the difference between the way the Lakers are rebuilding and the way the Mavericks have been rebuilding. Next, we got to talk college basketball. Maybe the number 1 pick in the draft, Michael Porter Jr. He only played 2 minutes during this weekend. Is that a concern going into the rest of the season? Next.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? And now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
So this weekend we had quite a few college basketball games. This was opening weekend, and for me, the number 1 team in the country is not Duke. As good as Duke has played so far, it's Michigan State. And the best player in the country
Johnson must be so
Bridges.
happy.
Very happy. He is having a great year. The Dodgers lost, but they went to the World Series. Okay, LA Lakers are looking good with Lonzo Ball. Their future looks bright there. And he's potentially going to get LeBron and Paul George next year. That's going to be very exciting.
Michigan State.
And Michigan State, number 1 team in the country, in my opinion.
Should we say Final Four team?
I think they're Final Four.
It's only been one weekend, man. I was giving you a lob.
I know it's a little early. I know it's a little early, but honestly, this Michigan State team, it's Izzo. I mean, it's Izzo. They're always going to be good, and they had the number 1 player in the country in Bridges, and they beat up on Northern Florida. They're playing number 2 Duke tomorrow. That's the game that's going to decide who's number 1, who's number 2 going into the rest of the season. Because really, these are like preseason games right now.
Yeah,
they're playing these easy teams and these what do you call them? Like preseason. They're not preseason games, but they're preseason tournaments. They're warm-up tournaments to the rest of the season. And there's always these big games at the end of these tournaments because they usually invite 2 big teams. These 2 big teams play against these no-name teams, Utah Valley and
it's just like college football.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden, both of the 2 top teams, of course, win all those games and end up in the championship game of these tournaments. So now we get a nice big matchup, Duke and Michigan State. I think it's a great game. I think these teams match up well. But I think Michigan
and that's
State
tomorrow night.
Has the best team. Yes, tomorrow night, ESPN. Make sure you watch that because you're going to see a lot of players who will be in the NBA next year.
And you know what? One and Done University is not ranked as high as everybody thought they were going to be.
No, I've dropped them, and they've slowly been dropping, in my opinion, because of the way they've played against Utah Valley and Vermont, sneaking by those teams. 4-point victory over Utah Valley, and then only a 10-point win against Vermont. They should be blowing these teams out.
Well, here's the thing that people maybe don't realize, is that college basketball is not the same as college football. When you're a Alabama and you go play Alabama or Louisiana Lafayette,
yeah,
there's no doubt that you're going to destroy that team. The problem is when you go into, if Alabama or Kentucky goes and plays a D2 school, some of those D2 schools are good.
Yeah.
They get a star in there or a kid who's become a star, and you're like, where did this kid
remember
come from?
Davidson, now they're not Division II, but they are very low Division I, right? Mm-hmm. When they got Steph Curry. I mean, just a player that nobody was trying to recruit. He decided to go to Davidson, and all of a sudden Davidson is in
What about Gonzaga and stuff like that?
Wichita State.
Yeah, yes. The last couple, other than 5, 6, 7 years ago, Gonzaga was a nobody.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they started winning and
got
winning.
a great, and he's built a great program there at Gonzaga, but they don't have the talent that some of these top teams have right now. I still expect Gonzaga to be there, Sweet 16. But outside of Michigan State and Duke, you've got Kansas, who handled Tennessee State. I mean, you hear all these names; they're all directional.
Well, we're leaving out a team,
but they're playing Kentucky coming up tomorrow night. So you got 2 huge matchups tomorrow night: Michigan State, Duke, Kansas, Kentucky.
But Florida hasn't played yet.
Florida hasn't played yet, and that's why I have them outside the top 10. I've got to see a team play before I'm going to rank them. I'm not going to rank a team.
But they've got a good team.
Yes, they've got a great team, and I expect them to be in the top 10. But right now, you don't play, you don't get in the top 10 rankings. Also, outside of those top 3, I've got Arizona playing at number 4. They destroyed Northern Arizona and UMBC. You go into these games, beat them by 40, beat them by 50. That's what we want to see at the beginning of the season.
You know what was really exciting?
Not sneaking by like Kentucky has.
And not trying to get Oklahoma in every segment. But what was interesting is Blake Griffin brought and surprised the Oklahoma basketball teams, girls and guys, and announced that they are both Jordan schools.
Yeah, I heard about that as well. That's big because there's only like 4 Jordan schools in the entire country.
Yes, and it's so cool that they get all Jordan material. They get all custom apparel.
I believe it's Wake Forest, UNC. Now it's Oklahoma and.
Now, do you know much about what a Jordan school entails?
You get a lot of money, which is nice. Which is nice.
But Oklahoma, I mean,
but you get all the kit, you get all the J's, you get all the new basketball shoes.
You would go to Oklahoma just for the J's.
Well, I mean, it's not far away. I could travel up there. You think they'd let me join the staff
I bet they'd let you join the girls' team.
I don't think my hair's quite long enough, and I'd have to shave, and I'm not too keen on doing that.
No, either one.
I think I wouldn't make a bad-looking girl. Oh, yes, it would. Yes, it would. That's a terrible idea. Okay, outside of that, Miami. This is a team that was outside the top 10 in most of the preseason rankings. I think is a lot better team, a very well-rounded team. They do not have the superstar, and that's why they weren't in the top 10. But they're a great team. They went and they hammered Webb and they hammered Navy. You go out, just like we were saying before, you go out and you do that at the beginning of the season. That's how you get in the
I was
top
honestly surprised on your ranking of Arizona. Because last year, their whole team predicated around marketing.
Yeah.
Lowry Marketing was their offense.
Yeah.
And the fact that they can now play at a high level without marketing.
Well,
who have they gotten to replace him?
DeAndre Ayton, who is unbelievable. He's a freak athlete.
Would you be surprised? Would you be disappointed
he's from Nassau.
if the Mavericks took him?
No.
Would you be angry?
So here's what the Mavericks are going to be looking at, that number 1 pick, and here's the top 5 players, in my opinion, in this draft, outside of the Slovenian Luka Doncic, who we're not really going to get to see. If you want to go try and find highlights of Real Madrid basketball,
you'll see it when the graph gets closer and they put together the highlight.
We'll find out more then, but you can go watch. You can find Real Madrid games late nights,
and
early
the
mornings,
obscure article every once in a while that ESPN
but
writes.
It's just hard to compare them because we're looking at
two
college
completely
players.
different games.
Exactly. So I don't want to put him in that circle.
So
right now.
here's your top 5
college basketball players. Ayton, averaging 19 and 13 through 2 games. You're talking about a center. He's over 7 foot. He has a 7'4" 7'5" wingspan. He looks like a combination of Patrick Ewing and David Robinson. And if you're the Mavericks and you're not convinced that Noel is the center for the future,
why would they be convinced of that?
Well, things could change before the end of the season. Noel could end up just really playing crazy by the end of the season. But this guy's going to be a top 5 pick. The Mavericks
we
have
better
a top
take him.
5 chance.
Our problem is our team has been good outside of center.
Yeah.
Center is the one spot.
And this guy's an
athletic
player. He's built. He's not Noel. He's not a skinny guy. He's a big,
250,
strong guy.
260.
Yes.
He's going to be able to muscle up against DeAndre Jordan's, Marc Gasol's, and these Brook Lopez's, these monster centers.
Brook Lopez is actually a great example from when Brook Lopez first came into the NBA. He was a monster. He was strong. He was a true center. This guy's a true center, but he can actually
shoot the ball.
Shoot the ball from outside.
We were watching it, and he backed up, and he turned, and he shot almost a one-legged jig, and Rick was like, no, he isn't. No, he isn't. Oh, and he almost made the shot. You were about to lose it. I thought you were going to lose your mind.
He's a great free throw shooter. I think he's a great operator. He's a great pick for the Mavericks. Outside of him, Bagley, 25 on 65% shooting, 10 rebounds, 2 steals. The guy's a monster. Does he get lost at Duke? I think that's part of the problem.
It's the system.
These Duke players play in a system. They don't come out with as much hype as players in other systems like Kentucky.
They get fundamentally good, but the problem is that the star players do, unless you're a point guard.
Yeah.
The star players at Duke do come out not understanding what it's like to be the workhorse.
Yeah.
Because they're not used to it. The system does not allocate one person as the star player.
Yeah.
So what happens is unless it's a point guard.
They come out as a very well-rounded player who will play in the NBA forever, but very few of them come out and become superstars.
Yeah, because they just don't know how to handle it.
So after him, Bridges, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 3 blocks. He's the best player in the country. Period.
How many points?
20 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 3 blocks.
Was that in one game, or is that average?
That's his average. Yeah, the guy is a monster. He is going to be the most well-rounded player coming out, but he's also an all-star. He's immediately an all-star coming out of this draft.
You think so?
He's the most polished player in college basketball.
So
After that, I've got Trier, who's averaging 31, 4.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 64% shooting out of Arizona. Yeah.
Well, that could be the
the assistance of Ayton is
what's the
not
guy that
hurting
came
him.
out of Oklahoma a couple years ago? Hyde or Heed or?
Oh, yeah. I know you're talking about Heald. Yeah,
I think that's a Heald of this.
Very similar type of player.
Three-point shooter, spot-up shooter, probably doesn't handle the ball a lot.
The other player that I have in the top 5 is Kevin Knox out of Kentucky. 12 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers.
Knox, Kentucky?
And 26% shooting. He's getting outplayed by Diallo right now.
What's his nickname, Fort Knox?
Yeah, he should be. But he's not playing like it right now. Look for him to play better. But this Kentucky team is struggling, I think, in part because they believe he's going to be the linchpin of this team, and he hasn't played up to that standard yet. So,
well, since,
he could drop very quickly if he continues to play this well.
A&M. You have A&M at number 10.
Yeah.
Why do you have A&M at
They
number
beat
10?
West Virginia, who was number 11 going into this weekend. West Virginia is always a very good team with Bob Hudgens. Am I saying that right? Bob Hudgens. Yeah, I think that's right. It doesn't sound right for some reason, but he's always got a good team. He always builds a good team. And West Virginia coming in, they had a lot of talent. But this Texas A&M team beat the snot out of them. And this Texas A&M team I think is legit. Villanova, UNC, Wichita State round out my top 10. So let's move on. I think Mavericks, look, you got Ayton, you got Bagley, but Michael Porter Jr., he's the player that everybody says the best player in college basketball, but he was injured, has a hip injury, 2 minutes, 2 points, 2 rebounds in his first game. Could be a concern going forward. He's the top
Hip
player.
injuries are nothing to
No, but if
scoff
this
at.
continues, that could be a serious issue for him, and he could tumble in this draft and be a great pick later on for somebody else.
And finish up the show, we will tack into a little bit of Monday Night Football, and then we will bounce out and see you on Tuesday.
We're so excited to invite you to our Stacy Furniture Anniversary Sale.
Save today on Stacy's outstanding selection up to 50% off select items throughout the store.
Now's the time to buy that new bedroom, living room, or dining room suit. You can't beat these prices anywhere.
Name brands like Bernhard, Hooker, Universal, and Cheryl, all on sale today.
It's Stacy's Anniversary Sale only happens once a year.
Shop Stacy's today or visit us online at stacyfurniture.com.
Remember, when you're shopping at Stacy's, you're shopping with family.
Cam Newton has a chance to actually try to right the ship this week, but I'm not counting on it. They play the Miami Dolphins, but if they are going to right the ship, it will be against the Miami Dolphins.
They are terrible.
Well, they shipped out their workhorse running back. They've
been
brought
trying
in
to-
Jay Cutler.
Yeah, they've been trying to trade their best wide receiver.
Wait a minute. Did the 76ers share their playbook with the Dolphins?
Well, I mean, if the Dolphins were smart, they probably would take it when their star quarterback goes out at the very beginning of the season and they decide to bring in Jay Cutler.
Is it Tankopotamus? Is that what they're doing?
Tankopotamus.
Yeah.
But this Dolphins team is not good. They're one of the worst teams on off. Let's just say they are the worst team on off. And that is saying a lot because the Cleveland Browns haven't won a game. How can you be the worst team in the NFL on offense and you're worse than a team that hasn't won a game? How is that even possible?
Here's my issue. Right now, Cam Newton has thrown 11 interceptions and 10 touchdowns. Horrible at this point.
Yeah, and
Cam Newton,
he hasn't had to right the ship, though, because this Carolina Panthers defense has been amazing.
But the problem is that it's not to right the ship. It's make the playoffs. You don't get a defense like that every year.
He needs to right his own ship right now because on the field, off the field, things are not going well for him.
If he keeps this up, the problem with Cam Newton is that let's say the Panthers go, you know what, we've had enough of you, we're out. He's going to get a starting job somewhere, and then the antics will continue.
Cleveland Browns?
Ooh, that would be an adequate punishment for him. Because I think anybody who goes to Cleveland, that's a punishment.
Yeah.
That is a punishment. Unless you're...
The most sense would be for him to go to San Francisco, but
Garoppolo's
San Francisco's they've got Garoppolo, and they're probably going to draft somebody. So
I'm sorry, but I would take Garoppolo over Cam Newton.
Whoa.
Every day
Whoa.
Every day of the week.
You lost your mind.
No, I would. I would take Garoppolo over him because at least Garoppolo is mentally stable.
And Jim has officially lost his mind. I guess that's the end of the show. No, not yet.
All I know is Garoppolo hasn't thrown any interceptions so far this year. And Cam's thrown 11.
Wait a minute. How much has Garoppolo played so far this season?
Doesn't matter. He hasn't thrown 11. He hasn't thrown 11 touchdowns, 11 interceptions this year. He hasn't thrown more interceptions than touchdowns
this
either.
This Carolina team, in my opinion, is going to be in the playoffs.
Not because of Cam.
Not because of Cam Newton, but because this defense is the second-rated run defense and fourth-rated pass defense in the league. They are going to get into the playoffs because of their defense. The question is going to be, can Cam Newton win a playoff game?
But you know that saying that offense wins you games, defense wins you championships? Defense alone doesn't win you championships.
Yes.
You got to have some offense.
Yes.
And they haven't.
No, and they've got the weapons. The confusing part is we talked about. Like,
they have the weapons.
They've got Devin Funchess. They've got McCaffrey. They had Olsen, who's injured, but they've got Jonathan Stewart. They've got weapons.
Well, they traded Kelvin Benjamin.
Yes, Kelvin Benjamin. That trade, I think, hurts them long term because they really need to be able to build an arsenal around Cam Newton for him to win games.
How many years does it take for you to figure out that he is not the answer? He is the most, I'll grant you this, he's probably the most talented quarterback physically to ever enter the NFL. Ever. He's 6'5", 245 pounds. He can throw the ball a million miles. He can zip it in. He has an arm. He can run.
Yeah.
He could take hits. Problem is, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
He is. He can't. Who other than an idiot would stand at a podium, look down at a woman and go, girls talking routes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's why we did that meme. Oh. the animal people lost their mind.
It's not just off the field. On the field, his passing has
he's just evaporated.
It's been bad, and he's overthrowing everybody.
Yes.
I think he's had mechanics problems since he came in the league. He fixed them for about a year, and all of a sudden, mechanics problems are back. He's throwing off his back foot. He's throwing high. He's not setting his feet. He's not pointing to where he's throwing. You could just watch him game after game. The mechanics are not there. Well, when you throw, you want to point whatever hand is your non-throwing hand towards a target. So you come through fully. I know I never played quarterback in the league. I'm trying to describe how to throw a ball. But the idea is just like, baseball, is you point your offhand where you're throwing it to.
And you point your foot.
You point your foot. You don't throw off your back foot. You throw off center of gravity, the middle of your body.
You use your legs. The reason why they tell you
drive through the pass.
The strength doesn't come from your shoulder.
No, it comes from the lower body.
Now, there are some players that have come out of playing baseball that know how to throw from just their arm.
Yeah.
But those are very rare.
Yes.
That know how to plant their feet, throw the ball, but they also know, and you hear a lot of this 3/4 sidearm stuff, and that's because they played baseball.
Yeah.
Because when you're a baseball, let's say you're a shortstop, and I'll give you an example, and I know we've been saying this name forever, but Baker Mayfield played baseball. And if you watch him, this is why I said he reminds me of Brett.
He has a bit of a baseball throw, yeah.
But he has a football throw all the time. But he can throw
off the run.
He can throw on his side. He can, because in baseball he was a shortstop.
Yeah.
You can gather the ball.
Right.
And as you're falling, you throw it sidearm to a guy, 3/4 or underhand.
Yeah.
You have to be able to maneuver your body to be able to get that ball to first or second. Most football players, Cam Newton, never played baseball.
Yeah.
And if he didn't play a position where you had to maneuver yourself. So when you have players like Baker, they can do stuff like that. Throw off their back foot and actually get, who else does it? Perfect example. Who else does it?
Aaron Rodgers does it.
No. Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's true.
Was a baseball player. How many times have we...
the Texas Rangers.
How many times have we seen him twirling, and then he's falling backwards, and he throws off his back foot and somehow gets it to a guy somewhat accurately? Because he played baseball. And like you said, even in baseball, you have to plant your foot, aim your foot at where you're throwing, and you've got to be able to release. In football, like you said, the power comes from your legs, comes up your body. You're supposed to rotate, then throw the ball. That's why someone like Dan Marino was so good.
Yeah.
It wasn't
perfect mechanics.
Perfect mechanics.
Every time he threw the ball.
Every time. And his release was like a bullet.
Yeah.
So
if Cam, I don't think it's going to happen until the offseason, but I think he's got to go back to the drawing board.
I don't think it's going to happen at all until this changes.
Yeah, and that's
he's got to want it. Right now, it's everybody's fault but his.
Yeah.
And with that said, I think.
Hey, wait a minute. I haven't given my prediction yet.
It's not worth a prediction.
Yeah, Panthers are going to blow out the Dolphins. The Dolphins are terrible.
Yes, unless Cam Newton loses his mind again. Which
he'd have to throw 3 or 4 interceptions for the Dolphins.
He's done
to win,
4 this year so far. He's done it in a game. He's thrown 3 or 4 picks in a game.
So it's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
I'm going Panthers 27-10.
And you know what? I am too.
Until tomorrow, this has been Off the Bench.